Hi folks, Stephen from Sound of an Ocean Wave here, and I'm here to do another interview spread, this time of the Druidcraft tarot. When I did the Deviant Moon interview spread, I did say I was thinking of doing one with this, and I decided to do it on video, as I did with the Deviant Moon. So, the same spread, the same questions, and the first question is, please introduce yourself. So how is the Druidcraft going to introduce itself to me? The King of Swords. So very, very clear, very ordered and organized in its thinking. And pondering and analysing, and good at decision making, getting to the truth of the situation. So that seems that's the kind of deck it's going to be. Very much of bringing clarity, getting to the truth of issues, helping me to ponder and to think about things. So that's the answer to how the deck is introducing itself to me, and I say to me because, as I said on the Deviant Moon interview spread, I see these questions and these interviews as how the deck is in relation to me, and the same deck might differ in its relationship with someone else. So the second question is concerning what's your strengths? What's the strengths of this deck? And we have the Queen of Cups. So we've had the King of Swords to do with the thinking and getting to the truth and clarity, and now we have the Queen of Cups in the suit of emotions and feelings and imaginations and the creative side, and bridging. I see this is bridging the gap there between the land and the water. So the subconscious and the conscious. So I think that's a very good balance to the way that the deck first introduced itself as the King of Swords. You've got that masculine energy as well, and then the feminine energy coming in as well. So it's a very balanced deck with between the emotional and the thinking, the intuition, and the clear statements that the King of Swords will bring. What are your limitations as a deck? So what are the deck's limitations? So limitations in the sense of, yes, it can tackle these matters, but it's maybe not as good as some other decks might be. So what's its limitations? And for that, we have the High Priest. I see that as, and to me it's slightly curious, because with it being the Druidcraft tarot, you'd think that its limitations wouldn't be the High Priest of passing down traditional knowledge, because of that it represents the Wicca and Druidry paths, and has elements of that in it. But I see that as that it's not really, it's not going to teach me too much. It's not. It may teach me a few things, but it's not going to. It's not going to be giving me a set guidance and structure to its messages. That I see that as me finding my own beliefs and my own path, and with this deck will encourage that, because it's not going to be laying out any rules or this is what you must follow. You follow your own path. So that's what I see as its limitations. That if I'm looking for tell me what to do, what is it I need to know, it's probably very limited in that respect, because I think this deck is going to bring out what I already know, and to encourage me to develop my own beliefs. So that's what I see with that. And the next question is, what can I learn from you? So in a sense, that the previous card were very interestingly was talking about what it wasn't going to do, what I couldn't learn from it, with being the High Priest, the equivalent of the Hierophant, the learning aspect. But what is it that I can learn from you? What can this deck help me to learn? And for that we have the Princess of Swords. Again, we have the swords element. So this is a deck that can help me to develop new thinking, get new ideas. It's not going to give me those ideas, but it's going to help me to find them in myself, to have those thoughts, to spark those thoughts in my mind that I need to be able to create the life that I want, to begin to get to grips with getting the clarity that I need. So and that fits very well with the deck introducing itself as the King of Swords, and thereby the King has mastered all of that, and because of that, it can, I as the learner, not quite as mastered as the King, can learn from this deck, at getting to the truth of situations. So I think that's quite good. And let's look at the next question. And what is the best way to work with you? So what's the best way to work with this particular deck? And for that we have the Queen of Pentacles. And I actually thought that because of the nature of the deck, I thought I would perhaps be getting more pentacles to do with nature and an earthy kind of spiritual path that this deck is based on. I thought there would be more pentacles coming out, but no, it mainly swords with the cups thrown in. There's one more card to draw, so it'll be interesting to see what that is. And as yet I haven't had any majors. I've had the High Priest, which is like the Hierophant, so only one major so far. And this is the Queen of Pentacles, with that creating, use creative ways of relating to this deck, and to be comfortable, to because I always see this as being comfortable in her surroundings, rooted in very practical issues. Yes, so to work with it in a practical way, mainly to do with the issues of life, of what kind of life that I'm trying to create, the external things, and how to use the internal thoughts and emotions in order to do that. So it's to relate to it on a very practical, natural way, and be open to creative ways of working with the deck. So maybe trying different spreads I've not tried before, different ways of connecting with the cards that I've not tried before. And the last one is, what is the outcome of our relationship, or the, if all these things are done, what's the likely outcome of all of that as I relate to this deck? And for that we have the Seven of Pentacles. So yes, we're finally getting some pentacles in there. And with that I see that it will teach me patience, how to assess how things are progressing, what's ready to harvest, what isn't, and how to tend and nurture that, and to have the patience to wait for things to develop at the right time. And I think that's the outcome of the relationship with this card. This is what it's going to bring out in me, the ability to sow the seed and to reap the harvest. And as I said, that's just one major, in this spread, and that was in what its limitations were as a deck. So you could also say that it's not so much the big spiritual concepts and ideas and abstract ideas that this deck is geared towards, attuned to, as regarding my relationship with it, but rather with it being the others being minors, the practicalities and the the everyday issues of life. That's what concerns this deck the most. And we have two Pentacle cards, we have two Swords, and one Cups. So there's the balance between the thought and the reality, with the emotional connection in the middle. We have no wands, so we have no fire element. So that's the one element that's not represented in this spread. So so what would that suggest? That it's not really a deck for vision. It's and having that creative spark, but it's once perhaps I have that, it's it brings all this in to bring that into reality as I move forward. So it's not going to give me like the inspiration, but once I've got the inspiration myself from anywhere else, it's a good deck for taking that and bringing it into reality. That's what I'm getting from this spread. So very interesting, and I hope you found it interesting. And until I see you all again, take care, much love, and see you again soon.